obviously you don't look like this on camera.
Yeah, talk about looking different.
What is the process like for you in terms of prosthetics, makeup, voice, things to do with your voice? What is that whole process like for you?
It takes a village to make a character like Cochise happen, and it starts at the Creature Effects makeup team, Masters Effects. They put glued on the rubber mask and my whole bodysuit. In post-production, my eyes are then brought to life with some CG to look around, and they express with some brow movement. Very subtle though. And then also my voice, even though it is my voice, it's been lowered electronically and added a little bit of an echo. So that Cochise has become something that doesn't even resemble me. But that's good. I like to get lost in the part. Yeah.
It's so amazing. I mean, I assumed the whole thing was CG for the longest time, and I realized there's a guy. There's a guy in there. Yeah. It's a fantastic character.
Pope is entirely CG. That's all computer generated. Right.
Do you think of Pope as a villain? Is he the bad boy and is really?
I guess if I was writing the show, I'd sort of, kind of, but not really. I mean, look, no villain's ever set out to be the bad guy. Everybody's a good guy. You just somebody else's perspective tells you that you're bad. So now Pope's kind of out for himself, and I think he's one of the few rational. He's not attached to anything emotional. He doesn't have any family or kids or a girlfriend, so he sees things very, very just cut and dry. And this is this, and that's that, and that's stupid. And my way's the right way, So.
But he's always the honest character too. When we talk about it in the past, he's always the honest. He's the one that's pointing out all the stuff that everybody's overlooking.
Yeah, and what I think is wonderful about the writing in that is that the package is so different. There's somebody who's speaking the truth, but he's not necessarily the most.
Trustworthy.
Yeah, exactly. And he's kind of a bit of an unsavory character. But he's always telling the truth, So,
And that's an interesting device, though, to have the person who's saying the truth discredited, so you're not. Really
it's not necessarily the guy that you like. That's the one who's got the most, logic and rationale out of everybody. So, most reasonable anyway.
Yeah.
You're coming back as maybe an infected alien or infected, possibly, because of how you were able to regenerate or something.
Well, I don't know that nothing's been said about me being infected or changed from the plane crash. You mean, right? No. I survived the plane crash because my species can survive plane crashes. That's the deal, and that's why I came back holding President Hathaway in my arms last week because I'm strong enough to do that. That's all. It would be great if I had a backstory where something evil had crawled in my brain, But you never know. But speaking of the word evil. I'm here to help, and I've befriended the humans, but you don't know for sure what my motive is, really, still. And I've always told people, look at my character through Noah Wiley's or Tom Mason's eyes, but also look at me through this guy's eyes. Colin Cunningham playing Pope. He's kind of a naysayer that is never trusting me, and I don't think you ever will, and that's okay. We're both okay with that. But I think to get a good perspective on Cochise, look at me through the eyes of all the characters, not just one of them. There you go.
I think that's interesting. I think the Tom Mason character would say, "How can you trust? How can you not trust him?"
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "Well, how can you trust him? Well, how can you not trust him?" It's like, well, which is it?
Right.
So.
I love that. It changes from week to week. We'll learn a little new layer, and it's like, oh, I don't trust him now. Oh, well, now I do.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So your dynamic with now that Tom is out of the picture, as far as Charleston's concerned, Weaver really needs you. You lead the people in a big sense. Especially what happened last week in the bar. You were leading the people. They're the sheeple.
Right.
I mean, so Weaver's going to, I would imagine, depend on you in a more different capacity than he has really felt comfortable.
Yeah, I was happy
before.
to see that in the writing because Tom's now gone, and there's some doubts that are starting to creep into Weaver's mind, and Pope is there to fan them to say, yeah, totally. So yeah, that's interesting that they're beginning to connect on a different level now than they ever have been. So I think that's kind of cool.
If you could be in the writer's room, where would you see your character going?
Oh wow, that's a big question. I think we've all thought of that to one degree or another. Depends on. I suppose it depends on the length of the arc. I think wow, if we did 10 more episodes or 20 more episodes, if Pope ever dies, how would he die? Everybody thinks our days are numbered. We never know, so everybody has their own personal deaths that they all want to do one way or the other. I don't really know. So far, I'd say that the writers have done such a great job that I wouldn't even want to second guess them because they've surprised me, and I've never felt monotone or just flat in any way. There's always something new to discover. So I'll leave it up to them. They're doing so far so good.
Do you think Pope's always looking for a brotherhood? I mean, because he was like part of the games, kind of in charge of it, and now he lost that, and so he maybe found that with Tom, but
I think Pope respects. I don't think Pope really likes Tom or likes anybody, but he does respect them. Same thing with Weaver. I don't think they necessarily like each other, but at least the guy's got something going on. So I think there is a certain measure of respect there. But again, Pope's not encumbered by family and having kids and all that kind of stuff. So I think often he can eat. I don't know, it's weird because he also doesn't leave. Well, then why don't you leave? Right? Just take off.
Hate it so much.
He doesn't. Yeah, man. Just take off. So yeah, there's a bit of complexity going on there. He hates it, but he refuses to leave it, or so he says he hates it. We'll see.
Have you been enjoying shooting in Vancouver? Like the new location. Well, it's been a new location for a couple seasons now.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, I love Vancouver. Vancouver's gorgeous for 4 months out of the year, but for the other 8, it's dark and it's wet, and you want to blow your head off sometimes. It's really, really.
That's the Northwest.
Yeah, the weather's tough. Totally. I mean, Seattle's got the highest suicide rate in the nation, and we're just 90 minutes above that.
Yeah.
So, but look, as long as we're working and we're out there, I will say that the weather really does create an effect. It creates its own world in the show, whether it be condensation coming out of your breath, or when we're out there working and it's cold. I mean, you're cold. You're not faking it. Yeah. So, and when you're tired, you're tired. So it's not like it's a tough show. It's one of the hardest shows I've ever worked on. It's weird as an actor to say, "Oh, it's a tough show," because it's like, for God's sake.
They're all tough, right?
You get to whatever.
Right. Try working in the factory, right?
Yeah, exactly. But it
Not
is.
the stage, but
Yeah, there's some days when you are you're wiped out. You really, really are.
Yeah.
And the action scenes, are they tough for you, or do you enjoy them, or do you just get a stunt double?
No, I think we do. All of us do pretty much most of this stuff. If anything, it's so cold, you're happy to run around for a half hour or so. Great. Can I flip off something, please? Because I'm just sitting here freezing.
I was just actually thinking about action sequences. Right after the crash scene, there was the whole episode where Mason and your character were going through the woods together. I was confused a little bit. Maybe you can clear this up. Why, after all this amount of time, you guys have managed to work together? Why a fist fight? Like, where did that fight come from? It felt weird to me.
Yeah, I don't know. All I would say is that after going through a plane crash, you're tired, you're not eating, it's freezing cold. Mason misses his family, and it's just like, you know what? And you just, the next thing you know, you snap and you just start, screw you, no screw you, no screw you. And the next thing it goes somewhere that, whoa, I don't think either one of us really believed at the time. And then we're pulling knives on each other. And I think, had the Skitters not interrupted that fight, the both of us would have said, just whoa, back off. I don't think we would have went at each other. It just would have been, you'll be all right. Whoa.
Just like a bar fight in the woods. Right. Okay, that's all.
Just one too many whatevers, and that's what happened.
That's right.
So as these characters continue to grow and develop, is there anything that you found that you're surprised to learn about yourselves over the course of these seasons?
Well, every episode I was surprised with something because I was introduced to the character Cochise not knowing if I was good or evil. Posing is good, but with that undercurrent of what's he up to. So when the episode came, when I'm explaining to President Hathaway about the reason I'm fighting this and helping the humans is for a flower on my home planet. That little moment was like, oh, how sweet! I love that's a part of the onion I loved having peeled back.
As opposed to some big convoluted big story.
Right.
Oh, it's a flower. Man, I'd like to see.
And they're bad guys keeping me from my home planet. I want them eradicated.
So, do you think that they named your character Cochise so that we could look in the history books and find out what role he played in history and how that might give us a clue as to what your agenda might be?
Perhaps it's also an easier way of saying Chichakio Sichnich Chatikol.
glad you said it. I didn't know how to pronounce it. That's fine.
But I wouldn't be surprised because I think with every name, I mean, you got Mason, he's a builder, you know, he's a bricklayer, he's a builder, he's a builder of temples or of families or whatever. So, and even Pope, John Pope was I think he was a captain or a colonel in the Confederate Army or the Union Army, I forget which. So,
There's poetry to everybody's name.
yeah, they're not just throwing names, they're not just, you know, the Falling Skies name board that they're throwing the card at, you know.
Let's call him John.
Yeah, call him John.
Are you guys excited with the support that you get from TNT? Because cable shows, I mean, either you really live strong or you die really quickly.
Yeah.
But TNT's been very solid behind this show.
No, and it's nice to see. I mean, I'm happy to see TNT with a show like this. What little I know of networks or anything like that, but yeah, they've been tremendously supportive for all of us and for the show. And it's just it's really nice to be on something that doesn't have a laugh track. At least not this year. You know what I mean? It's just kind of nice, you know. So
We've been told by some TNT executives that there's some shows that they like and there's some shows that are their babies. This is one of their baby shows. And that's nice to hear. It's nice to hear.
it's really nice.
Congratulations on the 4th season.
Thank you. Yeah.
And they just